How do? Absolutely beautiful day. Dare I say, a lovely winter's morning. It's very sunny. It's also quite cold. So I was reading this morning about Beverly Allitt. Those people of a certain age will have heard of Beverly Allitt. We recently had Lucy Letby, who has been described as another Beverly Allitt, similar case, similar methods of killing young children and babies. Victorino Chua, maybe not so much. You might not have heard of him, not quite as high profile. However, up close and personal with that lad. He was on the healthcare when they were at Strangeways. Kind of guessed he'd be coming to us. He came into custody, said straight away if he got found guilty he would kill himself. As soon as he said that, bam, he landed on healthcare. So I'll talk about Beverly Allitt first, then Victorino Chua. Hey dear, where do I start? So Beverly Allitt, just been reading an article. I know a lad who was Beverly Allitt's named nurse. Once she was sentenced and went to Rampton High Security Hospital. Unusual in that Beverly Allitt has spent over 30 years at Rampton High Security Hospital. The article mentions that she's been deemed fit or could be moving back to prison in order to facilitate release. Two very good friends who have been mental health nurses for a long time, well over 60 years between them. One of them thinks she will never get out, and rightly so. The other one thinks there's a possibility she might get out. Here's what's unusual about the case. When lads who I know have gone to forensic units, facilities, the sentence stops. So they might come into prison, they're sentenced to become unwell, go to high secure hospital or medium secure or low secure. When they are deemed fit and healthy, they can come back to prison and finish their sentences. Beverly Allitt's done all her time in Rampton. All her time in Rampton. She will have a lot of therapy. There'll obviously be a massive file, case notes. I don't know how many psychologists, psychiatrists, named nurses have put together a portfolio. If that portfolio suggests he is fit and well enough to go back to prison, then there is a possibility she'll get released. I don't know. I can't imagine what that's like for the families of her victims. We had a lad come back to us from hospital. At 18, he committed an horrendous murder. Absolutely brutal. At 18. He was deemed unwell and he went to Ashworth High Security Hospital as a Cat A prisoner. He was in the system 10 years. Again, this is unusual. He went from Ashworth to medium secure. I hope you can hear me. Pretty windy, guys. He went from Ashworth to medium secure and then to low secure. This is a Cat A prisoner. I think he got a 20-year sentence. Once in low secure, he was deemed fit to come back to prison. He came back to prison. He came straight onto the healthcare. Because the moment he landed in prison in reception, he self-harmed really bad. Straight on healthcare. He was made Cat A again, which he didn't like. We had 12 months of him self-harming, and I mean extreme self-harming, cutting deep, and then he went back to Ashworth Hospital. So basically, he'd served a year of his 20-year sentence, that's all. But again, back to Beverly Allitt, seems deemed fit to go to prison. I'll just show you this beautiful scenery again. Deemed fit to go back to prison, having served all her time in a high security hospital. I would expect to still have to serve a sentence. Again, people are probably asking why she didn't get whole of life or something similar. Who knows? You can read about Beverly Allitt, you can read about all three of them people. Again, all three used insulin at some point. I think in Beverly Allitt's case, one of the children, that child had the highest recorded insulin levels of any human ever, and that was a small baby. When Beverly Allitt went to trial, social media wasn't what it is now. Yeah, it was news and newspapers. So everything, you know, people at the time, myself included, knew about it came from news or newspapers. The lad who was named Nurse said when she landed at Rampton, she was a poorly puppy. You'll be saying she was sick for what she did. Look up Munchausen's and Munchausen's by proxy. I've been looking at that. That is a very strange disorder, if that's what you call it. Now, before we go to Lucy Letby, let's talk about Victorino Chua. Yeah, he weren't even a proper nurse. How he got a job, I don't know. I believe he was Filipino, very small in stature, and not a proper nurse, but he got a job. So people started dying. People started asking questions. Again, this is horrific. A nurse, a good 12 months before people got onto Victorino Chua, was arrested and charged and remanded into custody. So they're looking at deaths. They've got a nurse in custody. Her life's ruined. I've seen an article by that lass. It was ruined. She ended up getting struck off as a nurse. Not a lot I can say on that. Like I say, you can go and read it up. But yeah, charged, guilty. They got her charged. I have met people in prison who were innocent. She got released. 12 months later, he was arrested, I believe. So what evidence did they have on her to charge her and remand her into custody? It allowed him to carry on. Now, all three cases, again, very similar in that it's opportunity, being on shift and the like. Victorino Chua, I will tell you now, everyone I came across, high profile prisoners, you know, serial killers, serial rapists, people who killed children, they all had traits, they couldn't hide it. Him, nothing. Quiet and polite. You know, I've read what people have said about him, what police have said about him. Evil, you know, narcissistic, everything, nothing. Saw nothing with that lad. Deadpan. We all said on the healthcare, you know, if he was guilty, he was the most convincing person I'd ever come across. But he got found guilty. And then we get to Lucy Letby, we all know who she is. Again, for me, when she got found guilty of killing those children, you know, not guilty on half the charges, guilty on the others. I've read articles from nurses who work with her who don't believe she's guilty. Whether she gets an appeal or not, I don't know. But the more people talk about it, you know, the more people maybe are wondering exactly how things went. Watch this space on that one. Angels of Death. not good. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks for your continued support. Thanks to everyone who supports me on Patreon, everyone who's bought me a brew. And as a community, fantastic support for myself, Stephen, and guests, past, present and future. Again, thank you to them. I'll give you a quick look round. Those here that made a house today. Stunning. God bless you all. Thanks for coming. Al City.